Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today, we have one more set of great revenge stories. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. And our first story, Nathan versus the IRS. I can't believe it took me so long to think of posting this. You guys are in for an epic one here. All right, first you have to appreciate the kind of guy Nathan is. Brilliant engineer / crazy person. Because Nathan likes rules and Nathan doesn't give up when he knows how things should work, I like to get him to tell this story whenever we're together, because he doesn't even see why it's funny. It's just how he deals with all problems. Nathan was like if you saw Sisyphus and you thought, maybe I should try to stop him. But then one day the boulder was on top of the hill and you go ask Sisyphus how he did it and he replied, "It was simple. I just kept pushing it forever and ever. And eventually the mountain gave up." A real grade 19 bureaucrat. He just worked systems through problems no matter how daunting they should seem. Until one day, when Nathan's unstoppable force met an immovable object. I came into work and saw checks and envelopes spread all over his desk, and Nathan filling them out with the kind of grin Steve Buscemi might have crossing names off a list with a tube of lipstick. I asked him about it, and he calmly starts explaining that he's having trouble with the IRS. I probe a little deeper, since that in no way explains more than one check or envelope, and he starts telling me about how last year during tax season, he was in China for work, so he started filing his taxes early while he was at his parents' house. He owed a little, but left before he could mail it in, but he remembered while in China and broke through the firewall in order to, paid it online. But then his parents, thinking he forgot, wrote a check for him and mailed his taxes in too. So now his taxes would be paid twice. So they said, "Don't worry about it, we'll cancel the check." Well, it turns out that the NYS IRS has a canceled check fee of something like $40, and they sent Nathan a bill and a penalty for the $40. That was it. That was the whole story. A $40 fee. "Nathan, why do you have 20 checks on your desk?" "Oh, well, after I explained to them what was wrong with the fee, they didn't get it." So Nathan spent the next 4 weeks escalating the issue to the point that he got a case officer, a real live human agent on the phone with a case number. Nathan started by asking for the agent to spell his name and politely to demonstrate that he was where he said he was by asking how the weather was and how the drive-in had been that day. He then asked for his agent's manager, got their name, and exchanged some pleasantries. He explained that his parents wrote the check, but that he was the one being charged the fee. The agent explained that this was the policy of the IRS. All canceled checks will result in a $40 fee. The agent and Nathan went in rigorously compliant circles for hours exploring the rules. Nathan then calmly confirmed that it is the policy of the IRS to allow just anyone to write a check on behalf of anyone else. "Yes, sir, that's fine. You just need to indicate the name and zip code of the account. It is the policy of the IRS to charge a $40 cancellation fee to the person whose account is indicated on the check." "Yes, sir. That is the policy in NYS. This means that," and I swear to God, he actually asked the agent this hypothetical on the phone, "I, Nathan, could write a $10 check and indicate it's for you, Mr. Agent, at 1234567 Schenectady, New York, and cancel it, resulting in a $40 fee for you with absolutely no penalty or recourse to me." The equally compliant and rule-minded agent replied, "Yes, sir, I guess you could." So that's what Nathan did. And that's what he was doing with 20 checks on his desk and what he meant by IRS trouble. He was following through, sending checks to the IRS addressed to pay the taxes of the agent and the agent's manager so Nathan could cancel them, causing the agent and his manager to owe the IRS a fee for each canceled check. He was exploiting the same flaw in the system in which he was caught to essentially extort the IRS agents. I laughed about this for weeks after. Then, 3 weeks or so later, I'll be damned if he didn't receive a letter from the IRS. "Sir, we understand the point you made. Please consider your fee waived, and I hope we can put this behind us." And our second story. My girlfriend is not to be messed with. On mobile, so sorry for formatting if it's odd. This story is not about me, it's about my BA girlfriend. This situation is still in process but nearing an end, so there might or might not be an update in the future. My girlfriend worked for a tanning salon. It's a national chain, which means there are plenty of policies that are to be followed. She originally worked at a location about a 30-minute drive from home, but after a few months transferred to a place that was literally 2 minutes from our apartment. I've always known that my girlfriend was the kind of person who's genuinely sweet, and unless you treat her badly, then she can strike back twice as hard. Once she started at the new location, she immediately got the vibe that if you weren't in the group, which included the main manager, you weren't to be trusted, and would often get the short end of the stick. She has plenty of charm and is very bubbly and a warm personality. It's definitely not hard to fall in love with her. This didn't stick to the girls in the group. She soon found out that every girl there drank. She personally didn't care, but the chain's policy is no alcohol use. The manager said they never test them, so no one really cares. This manager truly didn't care about the rules. She would leave early on her shifts, if she even showed up at all, and her and the group would never come into work in uniform. My girlfriend was not close to being in the group. She became an outcast. She was forced into shifts that she said she couldn't do because of a primary job that was at once not a problem. She would often have to work a call-in shift, followed by a regular shift back-to-back, sometimes going 10 to 12 hours when they had plenty of workers, which made this unnecessary. There was an argument between her and the boss, which led my girlfriend to put in her 2 weeks. The company's policy stated that as long as you put in notice, you would still receive your commission based on sales you made for the month. My girlfriend was promised she didn't have to work a second shift in a row, so she made plans with her family. As it was time for the second shift to start, she was told she couldn't leave without first consulting the main manager, who'd been ignoring her for the better part of 2 days. Once she got a hold of her manager, she said they were short on hours because the manager simply didn't show up for a few shifts that week, so she had to stay. My girlfriend was fed up and promptly counted her drawer and left anyways. On the 2-minute drive back home, her manager texted her and said, "Now you don't get your commission." Now to the revenge part. My girlfriend immediately called the district manager, the store's manager's boss, and set a date to have a discussion. In that discussion, she had a compilation of screenshots and proof of the group not only drinking, but doing it on work property. She also showed proof of every rule that the store manager had broken, including having group chats with the group where she called the district manager ignorant. 2 weeks later, my girlfriend was offered her old job, and every single person involved in the group were fired from the store. My girlfriend had single-handedly got revenge on every person who treated her poorly while she was there, and ended up with her job back. And our next story. Tear open our driveway to pour concrete? Fine. You'll probably enjoy having to dig the concrete out of the ground twice. Not about me, but about a guy I used to work with. He was a mountain of a guy, a huge Turk, but the kindest guy I ever met. He'd do anything for people he liked. Nobody ever saw anybody get on his bad side until that fateful day. As it happens, he was also our delivery driver, and he spent most days on the road in his semi, leaving before dawn and returning quite late, if at all that day. Our warehouse had a driveway large enough for him to pull the semi into and load and unload. The supermarket next door decided to do some renovations and expand. When they started construction, they started tearing out their brick parking lot and getting close to tearing out our driveway. Boss runs out, tells them where our property line is, and is assured they won't cross onto our property. Everybody goes back inside, nobody worries, until there's suddenly a raging bear Turk standing in the break room, shouting about how the driveway has been torn up and he can't get his lorry in. We go out, and indeed the driveway is half missing, and there's a concrete building foundation poured in. Construction workers are nowhere in sight. Boss sends the supermarket manager an email message, and everybody goes home. Next day, we arrive to the site of very angry construction workers. Apparently, the delivery driver went back in the middle of the night with some bolt cutters, liberated about 30 of their shopping carts, and stuck them into the drying concrete in various comical positions. Overnight, the concrete hardened, and the carts became quite difficult to remove. Construction crew brings in the jackhammers, and 4 days later, most of the concrete is gone. Then they start preparing for another pour, this time leaving our driveway intact. Foundation comes out fine, everything's looking good. At that time, my boss shows up with the announcement that he had surgery done, and while they didn't tear open our driveway the second time, they were still closer to our property line than allowed, and he'd already filed a complaint to get the concrete removed. Took them another week of jackhammering to get it out. And our last story. Calling her fake quitting bluff. This happened years ago, but still makes me smile. I started working in a corporate office in a secretarial position for my first job after college. There were 2 older ladies who were also secretaries working in the office. One of them was just fine, but I spent most of my time sitting beside and working with Agnes. Agnes was quickly approaching retirement age, but wasn't going anywhere without a big push. This was in the days when we just started getting computers, and she was absolutely hopeless. She'd pull stuff like, "I can't answer the phone, I'm on the computer." Multitasking was not in this woman's repertoire. She was super fussy and annoying. If I ever came back from lunch 5 minutes late, she would exclaim loudly, "OMG, there you are. I was wondering what had happened to you," making sure the whole office knew that I was late. Meanwhile, she was usually late coming in the morning and often left early for various appointments. If I made a typo in a document, she would make sure the rest of the staff knew about it, loudly. She tended to pout when things didn't go her way, and she would quit her job when someone angered her. Then my boss's boss would talk her into staying. I'd heard about this tactic of hers, and one day our boss did something that annoyed her and she quit again. My boss's boss was away that day, so I had my chance. I quickly advertised and planned a big retirement party for her. It was a done deal by the end of the day. People were dropping by and congratulating her, and everyone looked forward to the party. At that point, I figured it was too late to pull her usual shenanigans, and she actually retired. I told my boss not to bother replacing her because it was damn easy to cover the little work she actually accomplished every day. The power of office cake parties. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.